Unlock your full potential with Brain and Focus, a powerful supplement designed to boost mental clarity, enhance memory, and sharpen concentration. Made from a blend of scientifically proven ingredients like ginkgo biloba, omega-3, and essential vitamins, Brain and Focus is crafted to fuel your mind. Our process ensures maximum potency and effectiveness, delivering the perfect balance of brain-boosting nutrients. Take just one capsule daily, as prescribed by your healthcare provider, and feel the difference. Whether it's powering through your workday or staying sharp in life's challenges, Brain and Focus keeps you at the top of your game. Stay sharp, stay focused, and stay ahead with Brain and Focus. Brain and Focus, fuel your mind, achieve more. Go get this product at blackhotfirenetwork.com at the Sports and Nutrition Store.
Sai kama glass tunagonganisha, sai kama wada tunafuatanisha, sai kama msuka tunapagawisha, sai sidai kama ni mboi sibai, kama na seti ni ngwai, kwanza baadaye sidai, kama ni sai naitaka sai makali napiga kachai, sina deni ndo ninajidai, zikwa kama rizwa lai. Plaga nafika tisai, sezi nashika design, majisto ndo mina dai, sezi ulenza rogalini, sai, sezi utachoma kalini, sai, kama kufanya nafanya kamini, sitali ni nini nasema nani, kama ni kucho michizo kachini, na wakanyaga kanyasi nani, shari manyoni bang, ndoka ni kali na bang, na wanyere na swag, bado na stack the bag, kama glass tunagonganisha, sai kama wada tunafuatanisha, sai kama msuka tunapagawisha, sai kama glass tunagonganisha, sai kama wada tunafuatanisha, sai kama msuka tunapagawisha, sai Madonna kamati donda utiaje nanka akomaje amateti mrazi mbogi na ngoja nifike sai jumboke mevai tupige sai jampi meshika walai nana nisakita dai sai acha siasa fitness unafika sai robo dakika nafika sai nimejipin jaba na steam mavelo kiboni mejaza kwa tip. Good afternoon family, Grand Rising, official scene. Karibuni sana to the Pan African Bliss Show. 29 minutes past the top of the hour. We in it to win. Shari manyoni bang, ndoka ni kali na bang, na wanyere na swag, bado na stack the bag, kama glass tunagonganisha, sai kama wada tunafuatanisha, sai kama msuka tunapagawisha, sai kama glass tunagonganisha, sai kama wada tunafuatanisha, sai kama msuka tunapagawisha, sai.
And I'm reaching out to all of my brothers and sisters on the African continent. You're tuning into Black Hot Fire Radio, and you're listening to the Pan African Bliss Show with your host, none other than Joby. Andrew Robinson, enough respect, love, respect, and justice for all.
Yes, good afternoon. 30 minutes past the top of the hour. Welcome to another episode of the Pan-African Bliss Show right here on the media of the 21st century. Black Hot Fire Network, to everyone like with us on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, everyone with us on the radio station. Hope you guys are ready for today. It's been a Thursday. Hope your week so far is amazing. Today we shall be talking about Niger's Junta being sworn in as president for the next 5 years. This is positive news, and we should be celebrating literally, because we've seen how the UN, France, and other organizations trying to return back. That is
Not Domaifai, but literally the other president who was outthrown, that is Mohamed Bazoum, who was out, of course, taken out of the seat because of not doing what is right by the people. We've seen generally the Alliance Sahel state has been doing amazing, massive changes, and I'm happy for Niger because this means great lives, equality for everyone in Niger or the Nigerians. But along that, as we get along with our conversation, we shall be talking about also Nigeria, the neighboring country. Of course, I've been talking about the 30 days of venting, ranting that Nigerians started, which should be actually and has been happening on TikTok, on Instagram. Videos are going viral and they've been exposing the corruption of their leaders. And I'll be sharing much more on that as you get to see a video where Tinubu's wife went yesterday in a school and she was seriously helped on. And I love to see it because that is the same that is how you show that you're really tired of people always appearing, coming to school, giving you, false promises, hopes, as they go back in their homes, eating steaks, chicken, as you eat literally nothing. So I'm glad to see Nigerians are actually speaking out and calling out the corruption in their country. Along that, we want to talk about DRC Congo. Of course, the news and updates of what is happening. The violence is still escalating, despite the peace initiative talks that are being held between Angola, which actually walked out of the conversation. And we've seen also the African Union being deeply involved, African leaders, the US, the AU, but there's nothing that has happened so far in DRC Congo. So who is to save DRC Congo? When will the people actually of DRC Congo be able to stand for themselves? Because I believe this country, of course, it's been decades of, just attacks back and forth. People always fleeing away from their homes. So when you talk about actually even having strength or men who can actually even stand up for their own country, men, I don't think we really have them in, DRC Congo. We should also talk about tribalism, which, like I said, since last weekend, it has been escalating, not only in Nigeria, where we've seen land dispute issues causing ethnical clashes, and also in Kenya, where we have now the Luya and the Luo, who are actually going against each other. And I'll show a video where we see some two fools, sorry to say that, but literally two fools who are very excited because of the ethnical clashes. And this is why I talk about the 2027 election. If we're not careful, if we don't understand what is being fueled to us as citizens, it is us who are going to end up dying, and these people are going to be in their houses, literally watching on, the news and everything that is happening. I also have another video. We shall be talking about Jamaicans. Rather, our Chinese have completely taken over Jamaica and they're fully in control of everything right now. And along that, we shall also talk about, of course, what is also happening in Kenya, about the Kenyan troops who are actually taken to Haiti. Some of them are missing, some of them are being confirmed dead. And, these issues actually arising also when it comes to the payment of the same troops, which we discussed a few months ago. And along that, last but not least, we shall be talking about the safari rally that actually, of course, took place right here in Kenya last weekend. And what is this historical? What's the history behind Safari Rally? So due shout out to Lynn Gugi, who is bringing us this information. I'll be sharing our video as she gets to explain the historical effect of Safari Rally, how it started and why Kenyans we celebrate it, and how we shouldn't be embracing this, slavery, colonial rules that are still very active in our country. So karibuni sana once again. But before I get started, I'd love to remind you to download our app. If this is your first time, kindly also subscribe, follow us on whatever stream you are live with us from, and ensure you check out our Black Fire Network app on the Google Play Store. Very easy to find if you are an Android user. If you are an Apple iPhone user, we have an active website link, and through the link, you'll be directed straight to the application itself, where you'll be able to see the amazing supplements I've shared, literally like the brain and focus formula. We have Moringa Pure, we have vitamins, proteins, amino acids, all coming at a very affordable price. We also have the option of paying slowly. If you're not able to purchase it at once, you can be able to pay slowly. We also have an active apparel store. Get yourself the Black Fire Network merchandise right here with us. And as we get started immediately, I want to start with what is happening literally, of course, in Kenya, my very own country, where we've seen the deportation, should we call the deportation literally, of our Kenyan troops being taken to Haiti to cause violence, not to maintain any peace, because you know this is Africans being turned against each other. But in the recent few weeks, there's been reports of our Kenyan troops who have been brought back home dead. Of course, this is because of the violence escalating in the region. Who is killing them? That is a question we need to actually ask. Who is killing these Kenyan troops? Because when you talk about the gang, the so-called gangs in Haiti, they're not really gangs. They're people who are trying to actually take back control of their own country, because the country has been destabilized super bad due to the mineral resources that are in there. But they're saying that an amateur video has emerged of a motionless Kenyan officer who went missing during the attempts by his unit to retrieve a vehicle belonging to the Haitian National Police, which got stuck in the road in what appeared to have been in a pit that was deliberately dug. And the missing soldier is a member of the Kenyan contingent making up the multinational security support, in general the MSS, in the Caribbean nation that has been plagued by violence since assassination of the President Jovenel Moise, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, in July 2021. The MSS spokesperson said that the force deployed 2 mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles to assist in the rescue of the police car, but the operation took a turn for the worse when the MRAP also got stuck, and the other suffered a mechanical failure. So for me, what I'm getting or gathering from this information is that actually our Kenyan troops are very scared of this particular, they're scared because I think what is happening is that they are running away from the mission because it's not what they expected, number one. And then, of course, they're not being paid too. There's no way you're going to continue working for your nation if it doesn't pay you. I remember 3 months ago, we reported these Kenyan troops actually questioning the president, why they're not being paid. And I remember, mind you, Kenya had received funds during the Biden administration, to support this particular mission. But we saw since Trump came into power, he said, and canceling the USAID, which I believe is part of also, of course, the funds that have been, that are being distributed to continue with these wars that are escalating literally globally. We've seen Kenya being very highly affected, and they say they're not going to be able to take any more troops there because there's no funds literally that is supporting this particular motion. So this is actually kind of crazy, and Ruto is to be questioned, I'd say, by the fellow Kenyan police officers, because he's pushing for them for majority of them to still actually go there in the name of maintaining peace, but there's nothing that is happening. But personally, what I'm picking from that information is that the Kenyan troops who are deployed in Haiti are already scared. Number one, there's no way you're going to continue working for an organization that doesn't pay you. Secondly, what you're dealing with is bigger than you, because the US is very deeply involved. Again, you're going to clean a mess that you never started. And when you look at the gangs, I don't want to say they really have advanced weapons or anything, but I know that they're really trying to take back control of their own country. But as we get to move on into other news and information, this is about Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria, like I've said, there's been escalating, war, number one, war between two ethnical clashes, ethnical groups, where we've seen it's because of land. We were reporting that on Tuesday. And that is they were called the Ifan and the Alabu. I can't even tell who those people are in Nigeria, but they are Africans. But of course, 30 days of venting has also been happening in Nigeria. Corruption is being exposed in the best way Nigerians can. And right now we have an outrage where the Nigerian Senate was handling an harassment allegation. And they say Nigerian Senate Ethnic Committee has dismissed Senator Natasha petition accusing the Senator Godswill of sexual harassment. This takes me back literally to the same incident that we are reporting about Kenya, where we saw one of the Senate who reported sexual harassment in the parliament, and there's nothing that happened. Instead, a letter was written. A letter was written for her to actually apologize. publicly, which is very wrong. And this is why we go back and talk about justice. And who brought even this term justice? Because when you look at the law of today, it doesn't work according, it doesn't serve, justice doesn't serve Africans as we really expect it. I believe actually when you take us back before the white men came here, like you had that guy from the Badgary museum, he was saying there were ways how Africans used to be punished. There were no chains, we didn't have jails, we didn't have all these new systems we see that Africans suffer a lot through. We had simple ways of punishing our people, even when it comes to maybe things like rape, when it comes to stealing, not what we see today. But because of the system, the way it has been set, corruption, this seems to be now a norm where, again, it takes me back to what we were saying. For you to get job opportunities, if you don't bend down, because I've said this personally, majority of these women in these political seats, because trust me, if you look at Africa at large, you'll find very few women in politics. How did they get there? Always question that. I always question that. How did they get there? Because we've seen women being fought when it comes to them standing in power or being leaders. Women today are not considered to be, you're not supposed to be a leader. You're not supposed to be in any position as a leader. You're supposed to be obedient to the men. The men should be the lead, and you should follow. And it just reminds me of what we were talking about yesterday when you talk about the Pharaoh, what Keith was explaining to us, what the Pharaoh meant, in the ancient Egypt time, literally. And it meant house of a woman. Is it the house of a woman? If you guys can remember clearly, the house, it meant the house, but generally is where the woman was, the one who had the say when it comes to who is going to become a leader to the men, when it comes to the men. But today is totally different. The men are the ones to decide which woman can lead. And it's not just to decide, it is different ways of deciding. If you don't bend over, trust me, majority of these women is bending over, that they have gotten these positions in politics. And due to that, I feel like that's why these sexual harassments actually could be escalating, because what you sold at the beginning is what you're gonna get, even as you continue in this, but in your position. Because if you got in by showing us your breast, that's how we're gonna keep on seeing you. If someone had to do you for you to get a position, then that's how the rest are gonna treat you. We have to do you for you to continue being here, because that's what you sold. So I feel like this, not only it becoming an issue, the sexual harassment, and I'm not saying that it should be allowed, get me correct, I'm not saying it should be allowed, it's something that should be tolerated. But most of these women in the political positions, that is what they have sold. But they're saying the Nigerian Senate, Ethics Committee has dismissed Senator Natasha a petition accusing another senator, that is Godswill, who is a man, of sexual harassment, abuse of office, and obstruction of legislative duties, citing that the matter was already before a court. The petitioner, Zubekari Abuku, representing the suspected senator, accused the committee of bias and of denying him a fair hearing. The hearing descended into chaos, with Yakubu and his lawyer condemning the Senate's inconsistency, while former Minister of Education Obi Ezekwesi clashed with the senator, the same senator. So there's a whole lot of things going on actually right now in Nigeria, to be specific. That is one thing I've noticed online. A lot of things are really happening in Nigeria right now. There is, of course, exposure of corruption, nepotism, a lot of things that are not working correctly. We saw the lights when it comes to the hospitals, the school fees is expensive. When it comes to even medical healthcare, water itself, it's very hard for most of the people in Nigeria to even find, because of when you talk about the oil spillage, rivers being damaged, fish being killed. It's a whole lot of things happening in Nigeria, but this is very wrong, and it's a matter that needs to be dealt with. And we need to check the appointment of majority of these women in leadership. I don't know what you think about this, but personally, that is what I've seen. I'm going to give a hint of what we've seen here. We had a woman who was fighting for for the young girls to have sanitary towels, because sanitary towels in Africa has become a problem, or has been a problem for most of the people. Most of the people cannot afford sanitary towels. Number one, the prices have gone super high. Even today, as we speak, I went to buy sanitary towels myself. I was shocked. I'm like, hold on, are you kidding me? Are you really, really kidding me? Like, when did we get here? So most of the people cannot afford to get sanitary towels, and I've shared so many videos and information on how most of the young girls have to survive. If not, you have to stay at home until your menses are over so you can go back to school, because you don't have literally anything that can cover you up. And when you go to the public, of course, with periods, you're gonna be period shamed too, by men. They're gonna call you names. They're gonna say how disgusting you are and all that, which needs to also be dealt with. So we had a Kenyan lady who went on parliament as I'd say as a way of demonstrating for the women. She wore white clothes, and it had some, I don't know if it was paint or real blood, but just showcasing literally how women are suffering. We were reporting this, I think, in 2023. And this same lady was fighting for the girls to actually have sanitary towels. Today, if we tell you she's the most closest person to our president today, and this has been scrapped. It's not something she talks about anymore. It's not anything she focuses on anymore. It just shows you again how most of these women, to maintain their position, there's something they have to do. Because if you're trying to do right by the people, number one, you're gonna be kicked out. You don't belong to this. You don't belong to the, to the group of the corrupt people. So you have to do what they expect, which is you being corrupt. And if not, you're gonna have to do things for you to maintain your position. So which is super, super crazy. But that is basically what is happening in Nigeria right now. And as we still look at Nigeria, because people are really, really tired, like I'm saying, the exposure of corruption is happening. Yesterday we had the wife of Tinubu who went to a nursing school, and people were helping at her. Let me share this video very quickly. Personally, I understand the language. Someone like Kid says he doesn't understand the Nigerian English and all that. But we had the MC or whoever who was the MC in here, saying that this is our mother, but the students were like, nah, that is your mother. Don't say this is our mother. What do you mean this is our mother? Because there's this, like we keep on saying, this how these politicians are given that hierarchy, is excellency. If they appear, you need to be respectful. If they come to your regions, you need to obey, listen. But Nigerians are getting tired of all this. They're seeing the same. Helping. They see the wife of Tinubu, they're helping. They see Tinubu himself, they're helping right now. And I love to see that they're really getting tired of all this nonsense, literally and for real. But karibu sana Kate, before I get to continue. And shout out to Jiba Jaba as well. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Joby.
How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm over here in Myrtle Beach. Shit.
Sorry,
Cold.
man.
Cold over here.
You need
Cold
some
over at the beach.
You need some massage.
I'm not gonna put no massage in that place. We got no. I don't know who would do a massage. I don't know. We don't got no place for nobody to get butt naked. You gotta get butt naked and put a towel over you to do a massage.
Yo, the butt naked part, yeah,
You gotta rub on people's butt cheeks. Don't nobody want to do that.
Yeah, they need like places to change, to remove their clothes,
exactly. So
their handbags and all that, So we gotta figure shit out as we get to move on slowly, as we grow, pole. But yes, we're talking about Nigeria, and I was just talking about sexual harassment, which is the same case as what we are reporting about here in Kenya, where we saw a Senate being sexually harassed, and she was forced to read an apology publicly, and we discussed that last week. But I'm talking about also most of these women when it comes to their position, because we've seen the transitions from what we were talking about yesterday, right? The pharaoh meant the house,
the woman's house.
Exactly, who had to anoint you before you become a leader of any society or community. But if you look at today, I'm saying that most of the men actually are the ones in positions, and seeing a woman in position is actually very threatening. They feel threatened. They feel like we don't belong.
Of course, because all systems, your systems are European. Those all that parliament. That's all these governments are European. That's the government that you were left by your colonizer, and their systems are anti-women. So now your culture is your culture is not African anymore. Your culture is European. Europeans
Exactly.
have always hated their women. So now you operate in the same vein, the same system. Yeah.
So we've seen, of course, that where if you are in position, especially I've seen in Africa politics, most of the women who stand up to fight for the rights of the people, they don't stay for long. They are always impeached. They are always fired. And I was
Of
trying to give
course.
an example of the Kenyan
I,
lady who was fighting for sanitary towels here in Kenya, 2023. She went demonstrating in the parliament, with some blood stains or some red stains
oh,
on
they got. Oh yeah, her clothes. They got rid of her already.
she's the closest person to Ruto right now. So what I'm trying to say is
Uh-oh.
this woman actually in position, it's a question personally I've posed a couple of times, and people should question for you. If you see a woman maintaining power, question how is she doing it, because most of the women are being fought not to be in power, especially if they are doing right by the people. On Friday we were discussing about one of the women who was a representative here in Kenya, and she stole billions of funds. And this the same lady, she stole like 700 and almost a billion actually. Yeah, it was almost a billion.
Wow.
And till to date, these tracks of funds cannot be tracked. And the reason why is because she's very close to Uhuru Kenyatta.
Of
And the
course.
key
I mean, so it means
is
it means these funds are outside the country, most likely where Samuel's living over in the Cayman Islands. That's where all the bank accounts, all these despots are in, and use the Caymans or in Panama. But they found them all in Panama, so they even moved the ones in Panama over to Cayman. Most of these offshore bank accounts are usually found in the Cayman Islands, in the Caribbean. It's the whole thing the Rothschild set up. So, yeah, so that's usually the money. The money ain't going to be found in Kenya. Ain't going to be no Kenyan banks. Because we all, just like Katie did a thing 3 years ago, already showing that all Kenyatta's funds, all the Uhuru's funds, Kenyatta's are all in that Cayman Islands.
yeah.
Of course. Go ahead,
Exactly.
Joe.
So, and if you talk about also like job opportunities, we were talking about, leave alone skin bleaching for women like me. We've seen also young girls testify to it. If you want to get a job, if you don't do some sexual, favors, you're not gonna get this
Crazy.
job. So most of these women, personally, just to assume the women in politics, I believe they give sexual favors, and that's why they end up in this position. Because kid, how do I have the audacity to just come and sexually harass you if that is not what you sold from the beginning? I'm just trying to question it from that angle. Because
No, but they're still gonna do it because the society is set up, Joby, for women to be sexually harassed. So if that's the norm, it's the norm now. You're dealing with the norm, so they're gonna do it. I mean, they're gonna see what's going to be your response. Are you going to deny me sexually harassing you? Especially if they have power over, they're gonna fire you or coerce you or try to destroy you. Because it's rampant. It's rampant it's rampant everywhere because it's the system they built. It's rampant everywhere.
I agree, but I feel like what you sell from the beginning is how people are gonna.
Well,
I've seen this personally.
they'll see. They'll see if you're not for the bullshit. Yeah, but that doesn't still mean they're not going to try you, Joby. They'll see that you're not really responsive. Go ahead.
We have really strong women. We have a woman like Mother Karua. Mother Karua, right now, she's formed she's like an opposition right now in the 254. Part of the people who are looking for the presidential seat in 2027. This is one of the I'd say brutal women who was fought politically. Like for her to become who she is today, she's gone through a lot. So that shows me, number one, she didn't have to do all these sexual favors and all that, and that's why it was.
No, that's it's like Shimani said. Shimani got it right. When you do that, Joby, you're going to be disrespected.
Exactly.
You're going to most likely you're not going to get the job you think you're going to get. If you get it, well, they're going to get rid of you because you never do that. You never do that to get ahead because it always hurts you in the end. You lose your integrity, you lose your self-respect, and you lose the respect of the others. And then everybody else, and then people around you know that you've done that, so they don't respect you. So So it's a cycle you never want to engage. So hopefully people are smart enough. You don't ever want to sleep, like they say, sleep your way up to the top, because that's what Kamala Harris did. And it hurt her at the end. That's what she did. She's a moron. How she keep going up? Because she was sleeping with people, sleeping with these old men, these old wababas or mababas, we call them. She was sleeping with all the people that were giving her jobs, and she wouldn't even come to work, giving her Mercedes, giving her BMWs and all this money, and she slept her way to the top to where I guess she made her way to the vice presidency, but that was it. But no one had any respect for her. So you are phony. Your titles are not earned. You gave up your Indian coochie, and so no one respects you. You've been giving your Indian coochie everywhere.
Yeah, so I feel like that's basically what most of these Senate women, because there's no way this is a norm. Now we have Nigeria, we have Kenya. Next we're gonna hear maybe another country, because it's always like a recurrent when something starts, especially in Africa. It's always like a recurrent, or in the world you hear this one has happened.
It's everywhere in Africa, because Africa has become so corrupt. The Europeans made it corrupt, and these despots have made it even more corrupt. Yeah. Because like I said, they have no. Shout out to Ibram too. They have no skills. They have no personality. They don't even know how to really make money. Except for being in the government still. They're morons. So the systems they're going to put in is going to be based on subjugation, over having people be subjugated under them, having power. So the main thing you want to do is always subjugate women. Some strange reason, these despots and these morons who can't really succeed in life on their own, they love to subjugate women. It validates their power, Joe. They want to have power over women.
I agree.
It's crazy.
I do agree. But we'll see if the case is gonna be taken serious. But they like, I've read the article. The case was already in court, and they are not looking forward to, of course, arrest the person accused. Just like you've seen in Kenya, you are the victim, but you're being told, hey, you need.
Where was this at? Okay, what country is this we're talking about? I thought it was Kenya.
This is Nigeria.
Oh, of course. Okay, so I came in late. So Tim in the back store. So this lady is saying she got sexually assaulted in government.
A Nigerian Senate Ethics Committee has dismissed Senator Natasha
they dismissed
petition accusing Senate Godswill, who is the guy, of sexual harassment, abuse of office, and obstruction of legislative duties, citing that the matter was already before a court. The petitioner, Zeburi, representing the suspended senator, that is the Natasha, accused the committee of bias and denying him a fair hearing. The hearing descended into chaos, with the petitioner and his lawyer condemning the senator's inconsistency, while former Minister of Education clashed with the senator. Like, it's a whole lot of mess just going on. So literally, this is just injustice.
Yes. So what you see, Joby, it's a system based in wickedness, and wickedness is always going to protect itself. So these men. So it's not just him doing it; it's a bunch of Nigerian men doing it. So they're not going to allow this case to go forward and implicate them, because it sets a precedent. So they don't want a precedent being set, Joe, because then all the floodgates will open up, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we now get to claim all this stuff, this wicked sexual abuse we've been suffering. We can now win." So then the floodgates are open up. They're not like, what? Nah, we're not allowing that. So they're going to protect their own. It's like, you're not going to investigate yourself, Joe. But you can't, the fox who's raiding the hen house is not going to investigate himself for eating the hens. So that's the black. So these men don't want any sense. And also women, you have to understand, you got to get out the mindset of voting for men. You're the majority in every country. Vote in women. You're the majority. Overwhelmingly. See, I think who did the numbers? Airtime did those numbers. It was only a million more. There's only a million more women in Kenya than there's men. I believe it's much more. I don't believe it's just only a million more women than men in Kenya. Is more than that. I don't even believe that. I believe it's more. But even Nigeria, it's going to be more women. African countries always going to be more women. Vote in women. Vote women. That's what you do. You ain't got to vote men. voting the women.
That's
You're
true.
you're the majority.
That's true. That is true. But as we get to move on, still in Nigeria, there's been 30 days of ranting online, which has been happening. Nigerians, again, are still exposing, of course, the corruption that is very high in the country, nepotism, inequality, literally a whole lot of things happening, and they're coming with even the evidence. They're going the Kenyan way, according to what I can see personally online in the videos I've
Of
been
course,
seeing.
it's
So,
it's an awakening.
yeah.
Especially your jump off countries are a little more developed than the rest of Africa. Kenya's a little more developed. Nigeria's a little more developed. Ghana, these are the most developed countries than your Burkina Faso, your Mali, and your other countries that are just in Africa, just completely ravaged and never been developed at all. I said never really been developed. This white man was so brutal with these countries. Kenya, South Africa, Namibia, but your main jump offs are still those four: South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, and Ghana. Those are more developed and educated African countries. So
So we know most of these leaders, when they go to places, they expect, like we were talking about yesterday, to be referred to His Excellency.
excellency, of course, Shelby.
The big man in the house,
That's
like
right. The
you
big head Negro.
yeah, Nigerians say Igwe. That is for them, I think, to refer to someone who is really, really big. So we had Tinubu's wife yesterday went to a nursing school, and of course, when you look at the video I shared like last week, students are
Oh, that hot.
complaining how
Oh, not
high.
that hospital.
Yeah, literally. Just literally explain it. Our nurses are schooling to go in which hospital? That are like what? Which equipment are we going to be using? There's not even enough hospitals that can hire even this group or number of nurses, because we know
That's
most of
right.
these
They,
hospitals
they,
are
haven't,
great
they haven't built nothing. Exactly
and
right. They built
become
no
tomato
facilities.
sellers and become tomato sellers after you wasting years of spending. You
Tomato
know,
sellers. God damn.
that is what I was sharing the video of the other lady in Kenya. She
I didn't
gave up
know.
graduate what course was
Wow.
she doing? There was a course she was doing. I can't remember the course, but she gave up the course for her to actually become a mamamboga. Mamamboga is the vegetable women. Like God damn. Between mamamboga, and all that, but you gotta survive. You got to
You do.
survive.
All right. You guys survived. So I got to become Mama Bugger or whatever you call Mama.
You have to critically think. If you don't want to go to Dubai, Saudi Arabia, or all these countries, you gotta become a mamamboga. That is what you're gonna do. So we had Tinubu's wife who went to the nursing school, and like I'm saying, I love the way Nigerians are usually showing they're tired. So we have the MC here who. You said you don't understand the Nigerian English. So what he was trying to say.
It's as bad as that Jamaican English. Oh my God.
So this guy, the MC, was saying, "This is our mother," but the nurses were like saying, "Nah, that is your mother. There's no you're gonna tell us this is our mother." Like
Right.
now it's like showing respect, because she's the wife of the president. Let me just share the.
Now I'm a so we know
See,
get
He's saying now,
I don't know what that. Yeah, please translate that English for me, Joe, because I don't know what the hell they're saying.
he's saying now our mama be this, meaning this is our mother, but the nurses are responding, say now your mama
No.
be that is your mother. Don't say this is our mother,
Yeah,
because
so
she has
the Africans are fun. See, the Africans always see. That's why I tell you, guys, you're the same culture, just different. You're very respectful. That's who you are. That's why it's always a shock now that the African waking up. So this is not our mother. She don't do nothing for us. We're not gonna just show respect and love for this broad who don't show nothing for us. These corrupt bastards. Because that's been the good thing about African culture. It's also been a hindrance. African people are kind and loving. It's their nature. So they're very respectful. But you've been respectful at your own detriment now, because people have taken advantage of your respectfulness and use it to their own advantage.
that is
That's why Joby would always say, remember back in the day, Joe would say, kindly do this. Keep it something kindly. Because that's the nature.
I still use kindly. I
You
always have,
you do, but not as much. But you do.
I have a friend.
You're a little bit more raw and rugged now, but you do. You still use it.
I have a friend who tells me I need to stop using that word because I use it a lot. Like it's like you sound. He says I sound like it sounds like a sarcasm. I'm like, it's not sarcasm. It's being kind.
It's kind. No, that's kind. That don't sound like no sarcasm. It's kind. I always hear it. No matter the kindness of because you never heard nobody in America say kindly. Do this to me kindly and kindly. Like, what? You trying to get your ass exactly? What? You get your ass out of here talking that kindly shit to me.
It's like the way I heard you say. I think you were talking to your friend saying the Black American elderly women are so rough. That is so true, man. They are so rough. So rough. Like, who did you wrong? Why are you so mad and angry and bitter? Like, why are you so mad? They give you the work for real. It's crazy, man. Nigerians, they're really doing amazing. 30 days of venting, we still yet to see more of what is happening. Of course, I'll be sharing much more on that. But on this other side, as we talk about respect, talking about Jamaicans, of course, we know the Chinese have been able to take over. That is Jamaica.
Because they're Africans, like every other Africans, they're kind. It's like in Tanzania, the guys thought the Chinese are treated, but because Africans don't practice what we call our own self survival. And like I said, we have internal racism towards each other, towards ourselves. So we get that's globally. As an African, the Europeans put that in our head. That's globally. That ain't in Kenya. It ain't in Niger. Ain't in South Africa. It ain't in Brazil. It ain't in Jamaica. It ain't in Haiti. It ain't in Colombia. That's everywhere you find black people. You have an internal racism towards yourself and towards other Africans. And you must deal with that colonization chip. Or you're going to be dominated by other people, come steal your land, take over your countries. That's what's happening in China. In Jamaica. Go ahead, Joe.
So yeah, we have in Jamaica where they're saying in major construction they are being run by the Chinese. Hotels and beaches are owned by the Europeans. What else? Question. And then this guy also questioned. He asked, "What is left for the black people? Class war with the elites." War, corruption, and poverty. That is what we're left with. War, corruption and poverty. The Chinese.
That's why I told you. That's why I told you Jamaicans they want to go back to Jamaica, and they're calling each other. They're calling each other.
George guy said he's ready to go.
He told you he's ready to visit. He ain't ready to stay there. If you think George guy's leaving British Columbia, Vancouver, Canada to go live in Jamaica, Joe, but you're crazy. He said he packed his bags to go visit, but I bet he won't take his black ass and stay there. Go ahead.
Let me share this video here of basically, as you see, literally this is a lot of Chinese men, as you can see.
Look how much bombo clad Chinese.
Bombo clad.
Bombo clad. He told me I understand nothing this man said. Bombo clad China. Blah, 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 blah.
Look how much Chinese I work.
The blood.
Fuck, I know. See, man, them man take on work, Look how much bombo clad Chinese.
You understand that, Joe? What is he saying?
They have taken over everything. See them walking on the road, the bombo clad, Shimani already told you what it means back then, so it's crazy. It's crazy.
Look how much Chinese I work. Fuck out.
So yeah, that is what is happening in Jamaica. So it's not rumors. So you guys can see it. The Chinese are completely free.
I said that.
In the rest of the African.
You know exactly what he's saying too, Sanavia? Okay, you and Joe. I don't know what the hell he said. Sound like he was speaking Chinese to me. What is this Negro saying?
You see, they out the Chinese walking on the road. Them bombo clad Chinese. Them bombo clad.
See, Joe, we listen to that reggae. I understand what they saying. That I ain't gonna lie. That Jamaican annoys me. I'm not gonna even lie.
Love it.
I know this see the Africans. I can't stand it. It annoys me to no end. I'm being honest. When somebody starts, I hear Jamaican talk, I go the other way. I can't stand it. It's some incoherent Negro babble. I'm out. I'd rather listen to General Mosquito in his British accent talk all day. When his Jamaican buddies from England come up next to him, Jim start talking. I said, "Oh, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out."
I think maybe because you've had that, that altercation with that.
No, I felt you think that because I had the altercation with Keston goofy ass. I felt that before Keston. Keston, that's only like 7 years ago. I felt that before that. Like, okay, I had a Jamaican girlfriend. I told her, but she didn't speak like that because she was born in America. But of course, the community up in New York all spoke with that weird accent, and just the disrespect you got with the. I'm keeping it all the way 100. I know people get mad. I'm keeping it all the way 100. The level of disrespect I got from these people who were immigrants from Jamaica. I'm like, what? Dude, I'm a black American. We built this because you are an immigrant guy 2 days ago. You trying to flex on me? Man, you better get your broken English butt to the back of the line. If you think you're trying to, I asked Desiree, her name was Desiree. I said, Desiree, what's with your people, man? What's with these cats? You guys are new. You guys didn't fight for nothing here. The level of disrespect. And see, that's what I understand what's happening right now with that FBA nonsense, because some of the stuff is true. The disrespect black Americans have gotten from these black immigrants, it's on fleek. I was young, 18, like, what? What's with this disrespect? See, the Jamaicans are like the Africans. They play that tribal shit too. They've never been able to have any mass movement fighting back on white people. Remember, Marcus Garvey had to leave. They love Marcus Garvey now because he's known. He got known in America. He left Jamaica because the Jamaicans refused to fight with him, and they told him to get out of here. We're not fighting no white people. He had to leave. Came to America. And when he went back to Jamaica, he was disgusted. He left and ended up going with General Mosquito. He went to Britain. He was disgusted by his own people and their lack of fight, their weakness.
Well, it's not all of them. We can't generalize everyone. We have
the majority. I'm not saying all. I'm saying the majority. Even George God told you his own Jamaican community in Canada beats him up for talking the stuff we say. They want to beat him up. Yeah, his whole Jamaican community. George God tells you that, not me. George God tells you that. He said he gets chased by the other Jamaicans and told to shut up talking what we talk. And I know he does. Because they are the most white ass kissing people besides the Nigerians on this planet. I've seen it with my own, and I've seen it over and over and over. So you can't convince me, Joby. I don't know how many Jamaicans you've been around. I've been around a bunch of them. I've seen it over and over. That's why Bob Marley, your Jamaican hero, had all kind of white lovers talking about African. Everybody sleeping with his white. Yeah, they show his black white, but he had all these white women in England he was sleeping with. So you can throw Bob Marley to me under the bus. Don't bring me no Bob Marley nonsense, talking that African shit. This dude is not no Pan-African. He was sleeping with every white woman he could find. See, people always forget about that Bob Marley was sleeping with all these white women. Huh? Oh, do this real quick. So I want to substantiate this. So pause this, Joe. I want to substantiate.
Short, because I have is long to share.
I'm gonna just share. I'm gonna get quick. I just want to substantiate this so people know I'm not lying. So I want you to go to Google real quick and say images of Bob Marley's longtime white girlfriend, he really called her white. Not even the black lady showing the movie. Images of Bob Marley's longtime white girlfriend, and these Negroes talking about free Africa. Get your ass out of here.
Okay.
That's why their credibility is shot. I'm sure the picture pop up. That's why their credibility is always shot. It's always fake. About no Africa. Sleep with all kind of white women. Get out of here.
Let's see.
It'll pop up. I knew it'll pop up. There you go, Joe. And not even a good looking one either. Look at that. There was a bunch of them. Talking about Africa. Oh yeah, see? Actual roster still on Jamaican right there. That's how all of them are. The majority, not all of them, but the majority. Right? So don't come preaching me no damn Bob Marley saving Africa nonsense, because you don't know nothing. You don't know history of this history of this dude, all these white women he was with. He was with more white women than he's ever with anybody black. Ever. Did I break you guys' hearts? You fake Jamaicans, you fake reggae dudes. And you see, that's the woman he was with, but he never was really with her. His Jamaican wife. He's always with the white women. And she's about to leave his ass. Eventually, she said, I had enough. You know, these white women. So,
shout out to the Bob Marley.
I'm such a hater. No, I just tell the truth. I always break people. People, you got images that white people create in your mind, like your MLKs and your Gaddafi. Got everybody black about Gaddafi. So some people realize on TikTok, why are black people talking about Gaddafi? He hated black people. He did. People always talk about Gaddafi. You better start knowing something about people and their backgrounds before you start idolizing them. You know, I want to know who you are. I don't idolize nobody but me. I don't idolize nobody. You can't bring nobody. Bob Marley was a hero for black people. Hi, sleeping with all these white women, impregnating all these white women. He's a hero for black people. Man, you don't get your ass out of here. You better get away from me. Okay. You bumba clot, go ahead. Bumba clot, go ahead. You bumba clot.
Blood clot. So anyway, as we get into the next conversation, this weekend we had Safari Rally in Kenya, and Safari Rally has a history behind it. And I want to share this video of Lynn Ngugi explaining to us how it comes from the British colonial system and how they stole literally acres of land to set up this so-called Safari Rally, which happens, I think, every year. I'm not sure when, because I don't know the seasons. This time it was in March. Sometimes you see it is happening in October. Personally, wow. But she talks about how this has affected, of course, the people of
who live there.
Tanganyika, the Tanganyika, the people who live the border of Kenya and Tanzania, and also Uganda. Yeah, we've had literally, of course, Ugandans who came, Tanzanians who came, literally so many guests who came to Kenya during this.
Kenyans that came.
What is the history behind it? So I want to share this video as we get to continue.
Shout out to you, Lynn Ngugi. You know, it's always stolen land from African people to do European bullshit.
Did you know that the Safari Rally was used to advance colonialism by the British here in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanganyika? That is the present day Tanzania. And a lot of things happened then, which we will be discussing later on today's episode. And maybe you guys, you get to tell me whose game it is. Is it an African game, or is it someone else's game that we are playing, or we were playing?
Thank you, Lynn Ngugi, for catching up. It's not an African game. The Africans are still pretty caught in colonial. They're poorly educated. So they think sports, they don't understand the significance, how sports work, how indoctrination, how psyops work. So so you're dealing with a psyop here, but thanks for reporting it.
You through the history of the Safari Rally, but before that, of course, allow me to say thank you to our you get on it. Just concluded one was nothing short of marvelous. You guys have seen the images. I know the cars were there, beautiful cars. I'm not a car guru. I can't definitely tell you which cars were racing, but I know a lot of you who are car gurus and car enthusiasts.
Well, why are you saying it's great now, and now you must say it's bad? Which one is it, Lynn Ngugi? See, be consistent in your criticism. I'm saying, I know you guys said it was great, and I loved it, and they're going to say it was bad. Which one is it, Lynn? Be consistent with your critique. Jesus Christ. Be anything, but be at least consistent.
At least she's bringing you information. That's what's up.
They're trying to make sure they keep that YouTube down. I know these people at their YouTube. If they tell the truth, their YouTube money goes down. So she's got to be kind. Go ahead.
Exactly. And
I'm gonna start doing it like that instead of being so brutal.
And not to be Dr. Mombid, because Dr. Mombid now has come forth to say this was an accident. Come on now, Dr. Mombid.
Accident. Oh, shit.
You know, there's no way you're gonna burn just in your hand and your leg. Nah, that is no cool.
So, I remember said yes, she's scared.
And she took down the images, so she was threatened. Like her life literally is in danger. So I understand literally. Yeah, I do understand how. She's been on media for the longest time. Lingugi, this is not she didn't start here. She was a media reporter actually when she started, when everyone knew her. And now she has a YouTube channel. So she's come from afar.
Of them, and also people came from different places across the world. We had our neighbors here, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, the initiative Tembelea Jirani, and Kenya Ilitembelewa. We had so many people. The event was so packed. Even just accessing, Naivasha, accessing Vasha was such a hard thing to do. In case you left late, you left Nairobi.
So imagine all this money. I bet this all organized by Europeans. So they're making millions of dollars off these goopy Africans.
Man, I bet. Because man, they go. If I want to show the real image of these people, it's so many, many people. No, this is crazy. You're like, why? What's the excitement? I don't get the excitement about.
I know it's boring to me. I know it's boring to me, but the Europeans control this. I know she will tell. I know this is said about the Europeans. So they're making millions of dollars off this goopy nonsense every year, while Africans are still impoverished. It's crazy. Go ahead.
You were assured that, accessing these views and the sites was going to be hard because it's a loved rally by so many people across the world. But then, it got us thinking, what is really the history of Safari Rally? And this was also partly inspired by a quote I saw where someone said, if those Naivasha ranches and conservancies are zingekuwa in the able hands of white people, we could not be enjoying Safari Rally today. All the land would definitely be 50 by 100 plots high, which means obviously the scenery would have been tampered with, and he really appreciates, the conservancies and the white people making this a place where we can be able to witness the magic happening, right? So, of course, there were a couple of things in the tweet. Someone said this is mental slavery, and we will get into it because when you look at the history, I'm not sure you can be able to call that mental slavery if you do not understand the history of the Safari Rally. So we went all the way back. The year is 1953. You have Queen Elizabeth. By then she was not queen. She's here in Kenya, enjoying the sceneries. Kenya has always been marketed as an exotic destination where you get to see, you witness the safari.
All of Africa's been dominated. It's been safaris in Kenya, safaris everywhere in Africa, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia. They had the animals all over the damn continent before the white man killed most of them off in the parts of the West. Called the Ivory Coast for a reason. They killed the elephants and stole all the ivory and took it out that way. But I was surprised even when Katie told me they still elephants in Sierra Leone. I thought they killed all the elephants and lions over there. All of Africa had these animals. It wasn't just that part of we call Kenya, and all these animals all over Africa. The lion, the elephant, all this shit was everywhere. So it wasn't like that area was considered as exotic. All of Africa. Everybody go to South Africa.
She loved the views. She loved, coming here.
But she didn't love the people. But she didn't love the people with a wicked ass.
At Treetops Hotel, where there are a lot of game sport events happening, etc., etc. And so she receives, of course, the news that her father has passed on, making her definitely now the heir of the throne. So here we have her here, not as a queen, but just by receiving, the news, we get to know, she's definitely going to be queen. Then we have now Queen Elizabeth too. And now the British are looking at it like, how best can we be able to gift this woman who loves traveling and she loves the safari and she loves Kenya? How best can we be able to appreciate her? What can we do in honor of Queen Elizabeth too? And so in comes East African Coronation Safari. So in 1953, of course, it was called the East Africa Coronation Safari. This was not an African game. This was not an African rally. This was a special dedication or honor towards Queen Elizabeth too. So again, let's take note of the year because we will refer to it later on, especially when we get to talk about what was the real reason this safari.
Pause it. No one talks about their conqueror and glorying love but African people. She came, she loved us. She was enslaving Kenyans. You were putting concentration camps. They were killing African men. What are you talking about? That was a Mau Mau rebellion. It wasn't because they loved you. They were stealing all your land, stealing all your wealth. What are you talking about? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the damn
the kid. She's getting into it. Man, give her time. You love criticizing our videos when without giving her time. Give people time to explain things.
She gave all this loving and applause that she loved. She didn't love kids. She loved the subjugation of African people. That's what they love.
She's getting into it.
Go ahead.
Literally.
We know, obviously, surface level thinking, this is in honor of you, Queen, you know. Queen, this is for you. You love Safari. So this is for you. So we're going to give it to you. So if you're in Africa, you wouldn't definitely care much because the natives back then were not meant to care. Not that they were not even meant to care. You are caring as who you are indigenous people. You have no say. Kenya
you have no right
under the British. So we rule you and we tell you what you need to do. So you don't even get to have a say on, we don't want a safari rally here, we don't want it, etc., etc. They have all the say. So by the time it's happening in 1953, as I said, surface level thinking will make you think that this was actually a gift to the Queen. But the British, being Brits, they are very clever and ahead of the whole world. They need something to continue. They need to continue emphasizing a certain narrative, and this narrative is Africa.
Pause it. I guess it. See, this is why her colonialized mind is dangerous. You gotta get. They're so bright and they're so smart, and we're so stupid. They just think, no, they're wicked, lady. They knew that you were going. Because at 52 you were fighting them. Not you, not your people, most likely. The other people were fighting them. So they knew, okay, how can we stay in Africa? What wicked schemes can we design to still have our foothold in this part of the country, a part of the world, which we still want to subjugate? Nothing to do about them being brilliant. They're so brilliant and so smart in what they do. And oh my God, crazy. Go ahead.
Marketed to you now. This is now Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. As you can see, this is land that has not been tampered with. This is beautiful land where you can be able to come and settle in, and this is land with all the animals. The way I said, they keep marketing African countries as land of animals and not land of people. By the way, when you hear someone say, I want to go to Kenya for a safari. No, you don't want to go to Kenya for a safari. You want to come and see the origin founders of this continent, the animals, because the animals have always been given priority over human beings. And that is why when you're watching this from outside, to you, the giraffes, the lions, the elephants, they matter more than the people who are here, right? And that's just how it was marketed to these settlers. This is untamed land, guys, and you have views. The scenery is beautiful. So they are marketing it as so, and they get...
Why they're still trying to get Tanganyika after we saw Samia Suluhu being appointed president. We've been seeing the white people now, they're poaching very heavily right now in Tanganyika. They're killing animals, and they say they're being given the authority by Samia Suluhu. I shared this.
Of course. But me too, Jim. I wish you would have got to the point. They always got to do this the YouTube hustle they do. They got to do the flowery terms so they don't offend their white paymasters. And yeah, I'm not colonizing anybody. I mean, I'm not practicing tribalism. What you call I can't put mine, whatever it's called, right? I'm not practicing tribalism. I get tired of Africans always trying to do flowery words to cover up atrocities. She said, and what they did in the 50s, the Africans in Kenya were fighting these Europeans brutally fighting, being put in concentration camps. Don't try to gloss over that and try because you want some YouTube bucks, you know. Kamati was being murdered at this time in 52 in Kenya. There was a fight, there was a struggle. So it's not she was gonna be the queen, how she loved Kenya and she was everything there. Or black, and then she finally say, but black people had no say. Not only you had no say, they were dehumanized. But the Africans didn't have no say. The Europeans dehumanized Africans Africans in Africa. Not just Kenya, all over the region. Africans were dehumanized, were treated as animals. Well, you have animal zoos every damn where the Europeans had put black people in animal zoos. So the idea of this flowery talk is crazy. She's not talking as if these people are born enemies, and that as if this wasn't a fight going on at this time. And I'm pretty sure a lot of those places got resources too. I bet the Europeans in a lot of this land she's talking about, oh, how pretty. I bet they're stealing shit out of there left, right, and center. I bet it's full of resources in there too. I bet that.
An amazing idea to do that. And this is through the safari rally. So obviously they wanted to give an image outside there that this place, you guys can come and settle in, and you get to enjoy the weather, the highlands, the sceneries, and you get to interact with animals, because again, animals are your best friend.
That's a lot, because they killed all the animals. Also, remember, Europe, they killed all their animals. They killed all these animals were all in Europe as well. They killed all their animals. That's the reason why they came to Africa. And that's why you found all the African animals are now on the extinction list, because Europeans came there. Now they're almost being hunted to extinction. These animals are also in Europe. You guys forget this. They murdered all their animals in Europe. They were all dead because of their personality, who they are. Don't forget, animals were all in Europe as well, but they murdered all the animals off in Europe. See, that's the history. You don't know. Go ahead.
We have indigenous people, because this is happening in 1953. And if you go back to history, Kenya is in the middle of an uprising. So here, of course, you have...
Oh, now you finally say it.
I told you she's getting into it,
Kate. Okay, Joby, okay. Don't go crazy on me. Don't go crazy on me, Joby. Go crazy on Lynn Googie, not me.
I will, because you're not giving that.
It's celebrated even across Africa, and it's used even to, you will hear people using the Mau Mau uprising, even outside Africa or in other African countries, to tell you how strong these people were to come at the British government or to come at the colonizer. So in 1953, as you guys, you are enjoying the East African coronation safari, what is happening in Kenya is that we have this uprising by the Mau Mau. And this is something that has been credited for the independence that we get to enjoy as a country.
Which we don't. We don't enjoy the independence. That's one thing I can correct her. We're not really independent. The fact that just not here killing us and all that, it doesn't mean we're independent. The white people are still fully in control of our lands, and she knows, and she's discussed this.
Among other resistant groups. Of course, now the Brits are scared because they know what they are doing. Yes, you have the Mau Mau uprising, but then these Brits, they have committed crimes against humanities, which will later be revealed later on, decades later. But present day, in 1953, thereabout, they know what they've done. They've committed the massacres.
Pause that. Pause it. Yeah, they're raping, committed crimes against humanity, but they loved you. You said, Lingu. They here because they loved the people. That's a lie.
It's sarcasm.
All right. Go ahead. Okay.
Women and children. You have them, coming up with these detention camps. You have them burning people's houses. And all in all, when we go back to history, you get to realize that around the same time, almost 300,000 Kenyans were murdered by the Brits along the same time. So
more than that, millions of Kenyans were murdered.
This whole idea that Kenya, the Ugandans and the Tanganyikas, this is a very exotic place for you to come and settle. They want to portray an image. We are still in control of these natives. They want to send this image, and they want to send this information out there that we still have this under control. I mean, look at us. Look at how these natives are celebrating, when these cars are passing, look at how they are clapping. But what they are also not telling the whole world is that not only do the natives, they don't want to be there. They don't want to clap. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They have forced them. When you go back to history and some of the articles that have been written about the injustices around also the Safari rally, they will tell you that they were forcing these natives and children to line up and clap so that you guys can think you live in harmony with
yes, exactly. A psyop.
The natives are okay with it.
Okay, she got it right. A psyop.
Go back, actually, you will hear people saying how they were meant to work at night because the roads gotta be prepared by somebody and not the white person. He's not the one who is going to do it, right?
So the black people had to do that shit. Wow. But I knew that, of course, because you were slaves. Crazy.
The East African coronation is not just taking place in Kenya alone, it's taking place around those 3 countries. And we need to map it out. We need to map the roads out, which means someone has to make sure that they're in great condition. And who goes on and does that? Of course, the natives. They are going to bend their backs. They are going to make them work day and night. Actually, I'm going to read you some of the witness accounts here because there are some people who actually say what happened, and some of the witnesses are Samuel Kiptu. This is in Eldoret, Kenya. This is a testimony that was recorded by the Rift Valley Historical Society in 1992. And he says, the noise of the rally cars were like thunder, but we were not excited. The British used our farms to set up their service stations without asking. My uncle protested and he was arrested for obstruction. So these are true stories of people who were maybe seen on TV clapping because this event was globally broadcasted, right? As I said, the British wanted people to know that we are in control and Kenya is still an amazing place for you to come and settle.
Come settle, white people. Come take the land from black. You come settle and take some more land from these Negroes. That's right.
Lake Victoria Oral Narratives Project. This is the Kisumu chapter of 1989. Paul said they made it seem like the rally was a gift to the people, but it was only the settlers who celebrated. The Luo fishermen had their routes blocked. We couldn't access our fishing grounds without permits that day. Again, 2 different images. Here you have the natives clapping because they have been told you have to clap and smile for the cameras. But on the other hand, even the fishermen, they can't do what they need to do because they have the routes blocked. Let me read one from Naomi Wamboi. This is Naomi. This is an extract from the Central Kenya Colonial Testimony Archive of 1990. And Naomi says, our boys were taken to work on the rally tracks. They were returned with wounds on their feet and backs, whipped for being too slow. My brother was only 15. So this is a recollection of some of the things that happened. Let me read you maybe one last one from James. He said,
Kenya should have outlawed. Kenya should have. When you got in power, you were supposed to outlaw that whole thing. Got rid of it. You supposed to got rid of it, but you was a puppet. You supposed to got rid of the whole thing when you first got power in 1960. You knew all these atrocities happened. You knew it then. You supposed to got rid of all this shit back then. Just as dignity of being African. You supposed to got rid of all the remnants of European dominance you could find. Get rid of all of it. Wow, this is crazy.
Interview by the Kenya National Archives, 1994. As you can see, these witness accounts are even archived. You can go and look for more. James says, my father and his peers were forced to clear bushes and pads for the rally route. Working long hours with no pay, it was presented as
slavery.
A celebration.
Was no pay, slavery.
Another form of forced labor. I think
slavery.
Also read
forced labor, slavery.
Where they were paid using tea and bread. I mean, you guys go and clear the route and come back for some tea and bread. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's slavery.
Bread, no wages, just tea and bread. Like, can you imagine?
It's called slavery, Lynn Googie. You know, it's call it what it is. It's called slavery. They put them in slaves and then try to pretend like they didn't. And then when nobody know. British were still practicing slavery on Africa. That's slavery. You forcing somebody to work for no money. It's called slavery.
Using tea and bread. So as we say, the Brits are using this to tell the world, you know, Kenya is peaceful. you guys smile because what matters, and you can see even in the screen, some of the images that have been running on your screen, or some of the short clips are running on your screen. You can see them, you can see the natives clapping. And of course, if this goes out, the natives have no issue with us taking their land. If
Man,
anything, we can
exactly.
still take their land and we
We can
will
still take
live
all this shit.
harmoniously.
Look at
Another
exactly.
thing that the rally did, of course, we were not going to have Africans participating in this. If you watch again some of the clips that are running on your screen right now, you can be able to see that this is a white man's game. Obviously, the natives are way behind there, doing the manual work, either controlling, making sure, you know, the collaborators, the home guards are making sure that the natives are quiet and at a distance, while the whole room has been left for these white people. As I said,
I
this
still
is their
always
game,
think.
right? But
I'm thinking about pros. I'm thinking about. I still think. How did they say? I understand how they got us in slavery. We were short. How did they get the Africans to accept a white God and still they did with all these atrocities and whippings and beatings?
Forced.
It still blows my mind.
We were forced. We were forced. I mean, these people came here with their guns. So what are we
Yeah,
supposed
that's true. That's true, Joe. But that's true. That's true.
to do? If
I
you
get it.
don't
I get
behave,
it. I get it.
you know, being if you go back to the history of Congo is just so King Leopold cutting and chopping people's arms, like
Yeah.
it's crazy, man.
looking back at it, even with some of these big car companies, the Ford, the Jaguar, the Austin and Morris, the Peugeot, Mercedes, you can see how excited they are to be in Kenya because now they get to test their cars. And one of the things that we have discovered, even as we are talking about conservancies, and the reason why some of
I
them...
believe at this time when this is happening, just as I pause and we go back to the video I was sharing the other time, right? When we saw the Badgary Museum showing us the chains that they were using and all that, to answer what Keith you're questioning. I feel like after they took, because the guy explained they were coming to take the strongest, right? The strongest men who could, you know, could fight, who could
Yeah.
build, could.
Who
So
can build an empire?
after
Yeah,
we have
Joe.
the strongest men taken away from us, and we've already seen the brutality of this white man, what he can do, the rest of us are also
True.
gonna be scared, literally,
That's
because number
true.
one,
That's true. That's
we're
true.
people of love. So we wonder what kind of animal is this, you know?
That's
What
true. That's
behavior
true,
is
Joe.
this? So if you see your brother is being shot, you're gonna obey. You're not
That's
gonna do
true. That's true. That's true.
roads
That's
towards the
true.
park, especially the community roads, will never be developed. They stay underdeveloped by design. It's because they are supposed to give you that safari feel. So you have a Ford in an African safari, the roads, the dust, because dust gives you that image that you're looking at. So you have the dust and you have a Ford here. Someone was asking me, where were the Land Rovers? Of course, the Land Rovers did not participate then, but they were used for support because then these small cars, the sedans, these small cars were what were used in the safaris. But the Land Rovers came in very handy in terms of technical support, etc., etc. So as I was saying, of course, Ford wants their cars in Africa. They want their cars in these tough roads so that they can show how superior the product they are making for the masses is. I mean, if you can survive an African road, definitely you are going to survive these whole roads in Chicago or wherever. So we are selling you, they are using Africa,
Chicago or
they are
whatever.
using these countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, as they're using it as a testing field for their product so that you get to realize how strong these products are. And not just the car companies, you have the oil companies. If you've noticed, a lot of sponsors were also from these oil companies. Shell is very prominent when it comes to supporting these safari rallies. So you see, you have
then who owns Shell? It goes back. We go back to
Yeah,
question.
exactly. Who owns Shell?
you
Exactly.
have Dunlop, all these again, our oil it's really good also for African roads. And also, these fools are using this event to continue intimidating the natives. I mean, if I was there, I would imagine them saying, you know, look at us, look at our machine, look at this Ford, look at this Jaguar, look at what we've created, look at how superior we are. You get what I'm saying? We are so superior. We come up with such creations, and we can be able to, you know, we are the answers you guys keep looking for. So of course, native akiona hivi, and you know them, they are used even to walk in, they will be like intimidated. You feel
this because we don't have the history of also we are the greatest inventors of everything, including the cars. So that's why I feel like you know, understanding. True. Yeah, I feel like that is basically what she's trying to explain. Most of the Africans didn't have that maybe knowledge of understanding we are the greatest inventors, innovators, and all that. So the white people could come and brag because they have stolen everything away from us. They can come brag about our own invention.
Feel inferior. You actually acknowledge maybe the fact that this person has answers to all your problems, or to all your, he's the solution, right? Yeah, and I can just imagine in some weird like way, these guys are passing through, I don't know, you know, you're in Kakamega, you come to Mombasa, and then you're in Nairobi. How many natives are seeing this? You even give up on believing that anything can amount from you, right? So it was a whole event curated and by design to intimidate Africans, and also to sell this narrative to other settlers. Like, because if the event is happening in 3 different countries, and the images they keep showing you of this vast land, green land, you know, giraffes, of course, they never left out the wild animals, the giraffes. And then, of course, because you guys have always been fascinated by how some of these communities...
Look at the Maasai people. Man, they even force people to jump for them. This is just so crazy. This is the Maasai community here. Oh my goodness. Oh no.
Like the Maasai look as if they are not people. They are just here to be a scene, you know. This is just something you can come and also enjoy. Look at how mystical these people look. I mean, look at their features. Come and enjoy this. This is quite an attraction for you. So they are selling them the wildlife, the communities, but then they are not telling you that some of these communities went through hell, making this event a realization. Of course, the aftermath of this event.
Also tell you, so you come dominate them. She's telling, come dominate and steal their land, take all their land, and make them slaves on their own land.
Exactly. And this is why you'll see white people now today in places like she mentioned. I remember, I think in 2023 in Eldoret, we have a man who actually owns the biggest capacity of water and has denied the villagers to have this access of water. You have to buy it from him. Like he owns literally majority of the water. So that is what they saw. Now we have white people having this privilege.
Wow. Yeah, and they stole it. And as a government, you're supposed to been took that back over. Then the only African, you find this in South Africa, only African people will put up with this. People steal their land, and you don't never take back your shit.
Exactly. I've seen places like Karen, where I used to stay. White people are the majority, literally there. The place is green. You remember, like it is very green, like super green, and that's exactly what she's explaining. They sold the greenery, the land, you know, peace, and that's where they have majority of the lands today.
About the native being at the
see, that's why I told you they don't want to separate from. They want to be able to dominate you. So why are they coming to Africa if they hate us? If they hate African people? No, they don't like you, but they want to dominate. They like the idea of dominating you, having you be a slave and work in their house for nothing and be their servants. That's the thing of getting. Oh yeah, give me a nigga slave, a nigga servant. Yeah, I get to own real shit because it's stolen. Same way they did in America, steal shit. It's theirs, keep it, and then claim that they should have to give up everything they stole from you.
But they are going to leave a whole mess out of it, and they did not even fear the fact that they are passing through indigenous lands. They don't even need your permission to pass.
They don't care.
Actually, some of the witness accounts said Some people are even involved in accidents and they wouldn't care because it's true.
Yeah.
Who are you even going to complain to that Sijui
No.
car knocked you down, ama wherever? Who are you going to complain to? So by design, this event, as I said, was meant for something. This was a Queen's event. It wasn't our game. We did not play. Of course, we wouldn't have played. We don't have our independence. But then it poses a question that if some of these events are a reminder to other people of
why is it still allowed to continue? Why haven't you gotten rid of it? That's what you're going to ask. I'm asking that too. Exactly. Why didn't you get rid of that when you supposed to got independence in 1961? Because you never did. That's why. Because just as a bringing back your dignity and respect, you say, oh, this got to go. This is out of here. That's got to go immediately. The second day I'm in office, all that shit's gone. I want all that road out there. I want it all paved over, good roads for my people. All that other shit is done. That's a wrap on that. But you didn't have control of the country. White people did. That's why you never changed it.
People of how hard life was. Why do we continue celebrating?
Exactly.
Because even right now, they will sell you this notion that this is our game, but I don't know. Yeah. Even when you go back now and you wonder who even benefits from these events,
it's not your game.
Beneficiaries of these events, and you won't see any native here because they'll tell you it creates employment. This is not even a seasonal event. It's not like it takes place 3 or 4 times in a year. It takes place once in a year. And this once in a year, that's why
they personally don't know like how often it happens. Like, because the dates keep changing.
It's once a year. It's once a year, she's saying. So it's no employment. And you wouldn't keep any remnants of a system that imposed slavery, degradation, just levels of inhumanity on you if you controlled your country. You wouldn't allow this to continue because this is a blight on your people. You would not allow this to go. No one's going to allow a system, any kind of game that was set up on the backs of your people's slavery. You're just not going to do it.
You know, Kenya will benefit tourism-wise. You guys will, you know, it creates employment. You will sell your things by the road. Even the WRC does not pay Kenya to host the safari rally. So in terms of, are we making any profit?
No,
when
no
it
money
comes
from the
to
ship.
WRC and the government? No, they do not pay you a single cent. They're actually paying you in form of exposure. So what they expect Kenya now to do, because you are now the hosting country, you sell yourself the best way you know how. And of course, as we said, Kenya has always been marketed as a tourist destination. And this being the origin of the safari rally, we definitely know a lot of people and a lot of brands are going to be paying attention. So what the government does then, it has to allocate a budget, maybe marketing budget, because you need the billboards, you need, of course, easy barabara zitengenezwe. You need to make sure that by the time the event is happening, everything is
in order.
Everything is full on.
I bet if you do a cost analysis, I bet this is a loss. You know, I know business. I already know this is a loss to Kenya as far as monetarily. I know this is a loss. If I did a budget, as Joby like to say, an audit of this race every year and its beneficial impact to Kenya as profit, I bet it loses money every year for the Kenyan government. I bet every year it's a loss.
Exactly, because like you can hear she's saying you have to put up the billboards, which of course they will put up. There's advertising, literally, which of course it's us paying. Also our, you know, the medias, all of them have to advertise all this. You know, we have radio stations, others who are forced to be there because you are being, you know, sponsored by the government. It's crazy, yeah.
The roads, they are clear. Kenya has been marketed well, so they're just definitely paying you in terms of exposure, and they expect you now to make money from the event, but they will not pay you to come and host that particular event in your country. So you look at some of the people, again, as I said, who are going to benefit. These are the government PR teams, and we know the government given the state of corruption in our country, even if they allocate 600 million, we definitely know we are not going to use that 600 million.
But Ruto corrupt us right there.
So mtu anakula pesa yake. The global brands, as we were saying, you have companies such as Shell, you have the makes, you know, the car, of course, if it's a Mercedes that gets to win, this is a brand. You get to realize that, okay, fine, Mercedes is a strong car, given that this rally has been termed as one of the most dangerous. So for you even to participate, your car has to be very strong, you know. And then you have people like the few elite who are going to benefit from this. I mean, we all know maybe where the safari rally, seen a lawyer who will pass. We all know some of the people who are said to be behind those lands. So you obviously know for it to happen and pass Harper, me, I expect you to give me what's mine. So this is a game of elite.
She's talking about the elites. Literally, let's say like if the Uhurus, if they own
Exactly.
a land, the people are benefiting. If let's say Ruto also himself has a land there, of course, which we know he does, is benefiting too.
The ones that are going to benefit, of course, again, given that we marketed this as a tourist destination, you have an influx of people coming in. So the hospitality industry gets to benefit. Even as we were trying to see if we could go, you know, you book a place and they tell you they are fully booked. So of course the hotels around Naivasha and, you know, the hospitality industry gets to benefit a lot. And that's why I was saying, they benefit once because this is an annual event. So you're not having this event happening every 2 months or 3 months, etc., etc. And of course, where they are winners, you have people who have also been overlooked, the local communities. Of course, not much is going to take place during that time to benefit the local community, the environment. We don't always talk about the after effect of the safari rally, what happens to the environment. Of course, you guys, you are drinking your sodas, your juices, people are littering left, right, and center. Who gets to take care of that? And also the African rally hopefuls. I think there's a video here. Let me just play that small clip for you so that you can get to see some of the people who benefits from the safari rally. Let's watch it together so you guys can also give me your feedback.
For good or bad, we love having WRC here, but what has it done for local drivers? And local competition. It's taken a step back.
If they care, number one, they don't care. This is just all for
White
PR.
people.
Yeah,
exactly. And this dude got a South African accent, so you know he's racist as shit.
No money has been put into local motorsport from this event, and that's
local motorsport. What does local motorsport need in Africa when they don't got good damn infrastructure? What are you talking? That's a waste of time. What are you talking about? When you got people that don't have toilets and shit. What are you talking about? It's good for to do motorsports. Well, not gonna have decent. No, I gotta build a country first before I worry about all that insignificant nonsense. This is for his benefit. That's why he wants that. See, he's white. It's for his benefit. Not for anybody black.
Exactly.
So,
and a lot of drivers are fed up. So
that's a life. There are a lot of drivers who are fed up with not be still having this event happening.
Leave. Yeah, exactly. Leave.
We care about the local people, the health, the noises like you had.
Exactly. Why haven't you built good hospitals over there where you do your safari game? Why isn't there a bunch of good modern hospitals, since it's a good thing for the Kenyan people? Where are all the major modern hospitals around there to get them good health care? You've been there for 70 years now, since 1950. That's 70 years. So where's all the good hospitals you brought in that area?
Nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere.
It stems back to having the WRC here.
Yeah, you can see it's like who benefits, you know, the drivers. No money has been put into this event. That's Carl Tundo, who is also a Kenyan veteran competing in the 2025 Safari Rally. So you see little or no support being given even to our own drivers because this is meant to satisfy the world view.
Is he talking about that white man? So the white man's a settler. Okay. Lady, we don't care. Because I told these Africans, you're dangerous. He's not your own. He's a colonizer, lady. He's not your own. And you should be more worried about hospitals being built than driving around in some dirt track.
Exactly. So that is Lynn Ngugi, and I just wanted to share that particular information. Of course, that is history that we need to know, because this is not anything that personally I also knew, and majority of the Kenyans
ain't it funny? All this history, even in your own. I told you that's why I first went to Africa. And the Africans didn't know their own history. This is something Joey didn't even know. This is in Kenya. They don't even put it in your own history book that you were made into slaves to build some goopy track in the western part of Kenya. That sits between Uganda and Tanzania. That it was forced labor, which is slavery. That should be taught in your books, but not nowhere's it taught.
It's like majority of the celebrations. We celebrate things we don't know what they really mean, and Africans, we need to start going with the wind. We need to stop going with the wind. Personally, love the fact I'm never with the wind. Like those kind of events for me.
With the hype.
It's something that has been happening over the years. I've had friends. So actually, I had friends who are going. Friends who have cars. If I wanted to have gone.
Your camera's talking about going. Your camera's making a big deal about that mess.
It's not me. For me, it's not something that excites me. Most of the things that actually most of the people just go by, for me, they don't excite me. I love questioning, especially number one, my safety. Am I gonna be? My safety comes first, number one. That's the first thing. Like telling me to go with what if you guys live with your car, you leave me there, because that is what is happening of the people. Some people are climbing lorries trying to get back to Nairobi from Naivasha, and it's not 4 hours. Imagine you just hopping on a bus or a lorry. I hope on your truck, kid, just going to hopping from Florida to Texas.
You're crazy. You'll die. You're not making no Florida Texas joke. It's like 20 hours.
So that is a 4 hour. Imagine they can't even if it's 1 hour. So
that's one city. 4 hours is one city in Florida to the next city. That's like going 4-hour drive would be like going from Jacksonville to Orlando, Florida. That's still a long way. That'd be one city in Florida to the next city. So that's like going from
their lives there, because of drinking and driving. Others get HIV there because of sleeping with others people's husbands or wababa.
Wow.
It's all that messy craziness that's always happening.
Ain't that out in the bush? Ain't it out there with lions and shit out there? All kind of hyenas and shit.
There's restaurants. Naivasha is big, so there's restaurants like you've heard Lynn Ngugi say. There's restaurants, hotels, like beautiful. But Naivasha is beautiful because it's next to Nakuru. But I'd say Nakuru is more than Naivasha, literally, because Nakuru has a lake, flamingos, and all that. But Naivasha is also pretty. There's beautiful hotels there. There's a bunch of hotels. So of course there were barbers and the young girls sneaking on their wives.
Yeah. All right, but they don't got wild animals running around out there.
They are, you've seen, they are wild animals, but I think the way where the roads are literally paved, it's not close to where the animals are, but the animals are still within the whole region.
I don't want to be on no bus and park the bus next to there's a big ass line out there. Shit. I ain't got no gun or nothing to fight. I never came. I know how big a line is. I was scared one time. I was in South Florida. A big ass jaguar came out the I guess you call it the wood or the brush. I was sitting in I was like, what the fuck? Hey, who got this wild lion out here? What the hell? I forgot there's all signs telling that they down there. And they got houses out there. Yeah. What if you had to go outside and throw away some garbage or something? One of them, there's a lion out there and one of them jaguars out there attack your ass. What they call a black panther. One of them panthers out there attack your ass. Man, get out of here. I'm not living out there.
But yes, as we wind up on our last conversation of the day, the Niger Junta has been sworn in as president for the next 5 years, that is until 2030. Of course, this is positive news because
good for him. So he won't be crying about we need democracy.
Yeah, we've seen Mohamed Bazoum, the UN, the rest of the organization trying to push for Mohamed Bazoum to come back, into the civil leadership. But of course, that is Tiani, the Junta of Niger, has taken over power by him being sworn in as president of the next 5 years. So this is amazing. Of course, we've seen them leave many organizations, including ECOWAS, the African Union, them forming the Alliance Sahel state.
I think they said Ethiopia. Now imagine. Now this is funny. Ethiopia is upset. I think Ethiopia said they want to join the Alliance of Sahel states, right? But Ethiopia is where they got housed the African Union there.
Literally, yeah. They have the African Union there. They have the center control of diseases there. They have like, come on, stop capping. That's why I say that is the whole cap of Ethiopia, what they're trying to do. But yeah, we're coming to the end. I see Jaba was saying you can't tell who's who from what side. They dent the top of their Kofi silly tribal mess. That is about Nigeria. Jiba also says if society doesn't respect its women, it's a failed society. I agree with you.
Exactly.
Jiba also says ain't no party being a woman in most countries. I agree. He also says the HNIC had nigger in charge. I think that's what you mean.
That's it. HNIC head nigga in charge. That's the slang we. That's the slang we call it, Joe. HNIC. Everybody knows that's the head nigga in charge.
Yeah, and also says, Karibu Sana once again. She also said the first time I heard I beg, I didn't know what to think about Nigerians as well. Yeah, they love to say I beg, my brother, I beg. Sinoga also says, Mosquito Karibu Sana. Jiba also says, I tried watching the movie Shotters, if I'm pronouncing correctly, couldn't understand a word. Or Nigeria, if I'm not wrong, or Jamaica, because you guys can't understand either. I'm the translator.
That would call if it's any Jamaican or Nigerian movie, I'm out. That's Joby. Joby watch it. I'm out. I'll go with Joby's apartment. I'm like, hey, I gotta go. I
watch South African movies a lot personally. Like you find me watching a Nigerian movie ever, not since high school, ever again. But I also see Sinoga says actually their English is their new Queen's English, and John Mosquito says Joby Kingston is Brother Kwaku, the Jamaican guy that was fighting Brother Keith. And let's not get into that.
Oh, she remember you Brother Quako, Kingston. He changed his name to that Ghanaian name, Quako or Keiko. I call him Brother Cuckoo. You cuckoo ass Negro. You remember you remember General Mosquito, that Quako con man ass Negro. And like I didn't teach him nothing. Took all my teachings everywhere with his Jamaican butt.
Jim also says you're racing against the clock from point to point. Also sees they say safari prices start from $25,000 from hearing whites talk about it. So Kenya doesn't benefit either way. And I also see Novia. Jib also said, okay, so the rally race is a way for foreigners to survey the land and choose what land to select.
But not no more. They used to back then it was, but I don't think they can allow to do it now. But back then they talking about when the Queen and them was still controlling England at that time, because England was still controlling Kenya and Uganda. Remember they controlled all three countries at that time. Was Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. So that was just to bring more settlers. See, they always, whenever they go steal places, they always want to bring in more white people, like they did here. They brought all the white people in, called the Great Migration, so they can keep control, so they can hold it. They know that people are savages. They want to keep it and hold it. So they know, because they know it's going to be uprising. Eventually, they're going to have to fight for the land that they stole. So they need more people on the land to keep it.
I also see Jibajaba is saying, but they can't build a road for the woman fetching water. I mean, they're the ones who are building the road. You go fetch water after you're done digging and building that road, Go worry about it now, okay? Go figure out where the river is. But also,
wow.
So see, another question you have is saying, when did ugali come to be? Was it introduced by the colonizer? So according to
it was.
According to Google, ugali's origin in Kenya are tied to the introduction of maize by Portuguese in the 16th century.
Okay, so it was still by the Portuguese, which are Europeans, because maize comes from America. So they brought maize in. They probably brought it back from Brazil and brought it over to that part of Africa when they were selling around that part of what they call the Swahili kingdoms. So
Mhm.
yeah, so okay, so it was brought back in way. See, I thought the British might have brought. So it was way before the British got there. It was the Portuguese. So most likely, since the Portuguese were messing around Brazil and Colombia, that's where they brought it in from,
The
and then made it
British
a staple.
What the British did, they're saying that the British settlers undertook the large-scale farming of maize initially for export, but later to sustain their workforce, which led to the local population adopting maize as a staple food. So yeah,
No,
literally,
it was the British. It's the British industrialized. The Portuguese introduced it, but it wasn't big yet. They just introduced it to the area. What this is, okay? But we don't like it. We don't know what this shit is. So when
I
the
like.
British took over, you didn't know what it is back 1600. So when the British took over, they industrialized, as Joby just read. They made a thing because it was cheap and they can make it as a staple. So that's when it became a thing.
Mhm. And also, Sinovia says she's telling the truth. The colonizers test products against the African terrain, torturing the people and animals of Africa.
Yep.
Jiba says off-roading is fun, but I get the large point. Jiba also says I never thought of the connection with the colonization. Also, Sinovia says the colonizers have always had free will of Africa. Now we know better.
Yeah.
It's time to put a stop to it. Also, she adds, I hate seeing the colonizers in Africa. I was in the store in Ghana and the Ghanaian man was pushing shopping cart for the foreigner. I almost got sick of this in the stomach, and people was carrying on like a normal day. Well, in Africa, you know what's up. But I also see,
Yeah.
just as I wind up, Jib also says I guaranteed the race had a field hospital built
For
along the
them,
race.
yeah, for them, for the white people, it did. They made a field hospital for the white people that got crashed and got hurt. Of course they do. They did.
And I also see,
And you better said no black people allowed in there too.
let's see, what's a fad meaning? The context of gun culture is a deteriorated term for a gun owner who supports traditional hunting guns. No, I'm not a fad. I'm not a fad jibba jabba. What are you saying? I'm
Okay,
not that.
what? You're not a
Is it
who or what?
a food? I don't know, a food or a fad. Joby, you're becoming a fad. I don't know, fad. I'm not that. I've checked the meaning. I'm not that. I am not. I also see you saying I watch Jamaican movies all the time. That is Sinovia. Shout out to Sister Michelle. Hit the like button. Thank you so much for
Good,
reminding them.
good, like,
Kindly.
but good for you, good for you, Shinobi. I'm not watching a damn one of them. I try not to torture myself with bad English. I'm good. I don't want to. If I'm listening to English, I don't need to have translations written across the screen. If it's English, I should be able to understand it. I should have
But
to. I should have to read on the bottom of the screen what they saying, or call Joby. Have Joby the phone. Hey Joby, what they saying? No, I'm good. I, all the great Jamaican movies, I'm just gonna have to miss.
yeah, so anyway, we come into the end of today's conversation. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined me on this morning. I appreciate you guys so much. Of course, see you guys later on.
Just like them goofy Nigerian movies. I don't understand. Hey, they would say, hey, hey. Oh,
See you
what?
guys later on YouTube, Rumble, me and Shumani. Thank you so much once again. And of course,
Jamaicans
remember
always say, yay, hey.
tonight I'll be on the radio and on the network, so you guys can pull in and request your request tonight, or rather on TikTok. But with that being said, have yourselves a beautiful rest part of your
Sister
day.
Nish loves them goofy Nigerian movies. She married a Nigerian. Them horrible ass skin bleaching movies. Everybody's skin bleached with fucked up wigs on. Everybody's got bad wigs and skin bleaching. I'm good.